What's good, everybody? Hello. I'm joined with a very special guest. He's appeared on the channel a couple. He's appeared on the channel a couple of times. Name is Six.
Yup.
Yes, sir. We're gonna be going over a very controversial topic, that being Kaguya versus Momoshiki. This is one of the only versus battles besides, I'll say, Ishiki versus Kaguya. That was fucking retarded. This is one of the only versus battles that's this contentious besides Fuse Momoshiki versus Delta. Just to start off, we're going to be going over which form of Kaguya. Contrary to popular belief, the strongest form of Kaguya does appear in the war arc. A lot of people think she's nerfed because she quote-unquote doesn't have the power she had back then when she fought Hagoromo, which just isn't true. Not only is it stated that more chakra than normal is within Kaguya's dimension, meaning that more chakra is created over time. Also, the only chakra she would have access to then is the God Tree fruit, right, Six?
Yep.
Which she has that in the war arc, along with 2 Rinnegan, Sage Mode body, the God Tree itself, and a bunch of more chakra from the Shinobi Alliance, and post ETSO she gets even more powerful. So that's just not true. War arc version of Kaguya is the strongest iteration we've seen thus far, with the Ishiki one being the weakest.
We also know a lot more chakra was created between those 2 time periods. Whenever Kinshiki comes in to confront Momoshiki or tell him about what he saw in quote-unquote Kaguya's world, was that there was tears in it because the chakra level or something like that, it was basically off the charts. There had been so much chakra built up in, the Naruto universe that it had started to like rip the fabric of reality, basically.
Another way we know more chakra was made was Kurama amasses and becomes larger and stronger in every tailed beast, and we know tailed beasts are just masses of chakra. People also awaken dojutsu, which further increased the chakra amount, so it doesn't make sense for all chakra to be there at the beginning. No more is created. With War Arc Kaguya being the strongest Kaguya, she really only has one showing, that being versus Teen Naruto, Sasuke, and DMS Kakashi. She's pretty fairly above all of them besides DMS Kakashi, whom can outclass her on more than several occasions. She toys around with Sasuke and Susanoo being able to break it apart with just one vacuum fist, and Naruto's clones and him don't stand much of a match either. Boy release leaving her unscathed. He can only really do damage when he's mental amped.
To quickly talk about something me and Troy have both talked about in the past with this whole leaderboard Otsutsuki argument that I kind of used to heavily goon. I really don't agree with this argument anymore. I found a few issues with it, mainly due to skepticism, but it's pretty valid skepticism that or I think it poses very valid questions that you can't answer in order for the argument to function. And there's a little bit of empirical backing as well. The leaderboard does not account for genetic updates, just blatantly, because Momo turns into Fuse Momo at some point, and he's nowhere on that leaderboard whatsoever. So you can't say it accounts for genetic updates or updates in power. So how long ago it was made, possibly before Kaguya even left the Otsutsuki planet, we don't even know. So I think the leaderboard is more so showing status among Otsutsuki rather than actual power.
And as we know, we can't just equate status to being stronger. Like, let's say the king of a country or the president is not the most powerful physically. He just holds the most political power, right? So status is not always, and many times isn't equated to power, especially in real life. So that's out. Now, getting into base Momoshiki, he doesn't really appear that much in the anime or the manga. In the anime, there are a couple sus statements, like Momoshiki himself says he could punish Kaguya. Some might say this just proves base Momoshiki above, but with skepticism, a lot of people like to say, well, he doesn't know how strong Kaguya is because he didn't see her post eating the fruit. He probably is talking about the Kaguya that was originally in the Otsutsuki clan. So that statement can't really be used. Another statement is the threat of existence greater than Kaguya that Sasuke hypothesizes once meeting Momo and Kinshiki. A lot of people like to say this is with both of them together. While that's possible, I lean more towards this being either Momoshiki or Kinshiki individually. Because even with the Zetsu army, it's not like their durability or attack potency would increase or be combined. So she would still, if not able to affect them separately, if she couldn't affect them separately, it wouldn't really matter for them to fuse because she couldn't affect them again. The Zetsu army kind of lower Jonin threats. They're more or less just character fodder. They won't really help. I don't even know why she was amassed in the army in the first place. They're pretty ass.
This would be like a bit of speculation on my part, but just crazy hypothetical. Let's say that Kaguya could use the white Zetsu, sort of like how the Jubi was used, because the white Zetsu are kind of moldable in that way. We even see the Zetsu at one point make like a crazy giant white Zetsu monster that Naruto ends up killing with, I think it was a mini Rasen Shuriken, his first mini Rasen Shuriken. But so imagine Kaguya can do something like that, where she can send the white Zetsu out at Momoshiki or Kinshiki to restrain them. Since we know that Zetsu can also absorb specific amounts of chakra, and they can handle a lot of chakra. I think one could even completely replicate Kisame's chakra supply, and Kisame, as everyone knows, tailed beast, he's got a massive chakra supply. So I don't know, maybe Kaguya was planning to use them in that way, where she was gonna drain them of their chakra or send a gigantic white Zetsu clone to fight them, something like that. But yeah, just the way I was thinking about it, that she could actually use that white Zetsu army in combat, because let's be honest, white Zetsu on their own, they don't even scale to, they barely scale to Jonin. So they're not scaling to Momoshiki and Kinshiki. That's just something I thought, could possibly help her out.
I would probably agree with this hypothetical, regardless of how crazy it is, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. Like you said, they only scale to Jonin level. But even without base Momoshiki beating Kaguya, I think what we all came here for is for Momoshiki's strongest form, or fused Momoshiki. This is, of course, the state he takes when he eats Kinshiki, his partner or father in some iterations. Now, with this state, he just directly scales to Naruto and Sasuke. In the anime, they can all do battle. If not him slightly outclassing one individually, together they kind of overpower him, and with the golem, they have to transform into their respective Susanoo and Kurama avatar states. The reason why this Momoshiki would kind of just dick on Kaguya and it's not really a fair fight is given Toneri. Toneri is another Otsutsuki that appears in Naruto, the last movie. He is just outright stated to be the strongest enemy they have encountered. Of course, before the last, they encountered Kaguya herself. This would include her, but not Momoshiki. And what Naruto does to Toneri is he compresses a bunch of Kurama chakra into one hand and one-shots her while in Biju Sage mode. Whereas Momoshiki in his fused state takes on 6-pass Sage mode Naruto, which is a way higher form than just Biju Sage mode.
Naruto also trained since the war arc, like literally between the war arc to Toneri, and then he doesn't train for a while after that when they run into Shin, but then after that he starts training again in the anime. Every day he pops the 4 Crimson Ray barrier. At least we know he's not rusty by the time he runs into Momoshiki. Another thing about Momoshiki's genetic update is that genetic updates don't come all the time when you eat chakra fruits. So in the Boruto manga anyway, we find out that Kaguya has always had her Rinne Sharingan. It's a little bit weird like that. Just a nice little retcon Kishimoto decided to throw in there. I don't know why. But Momo, he actually eats 16 different god tree fruits on this one planet, and he does not look different at all. You can literally see him in the clip eating a chakra fruit. He stays the exact same. So that just means that Kinshiki's chakra fruit, however potent it was enough to make him evolve. And I just thought I'd mention that, since I don't see a lot of people actually bring that up, that the chakra fruits have this varying level of potency, and you can sort of determine it by the genetic update. Which, could possibly even mean that Kinshiki's chakra fruit, if you go by the anime in specific, which is basically what I'm using here, the Kaguya filler, when she eats the chakra fruit, really all she gains is her Rinne Sharingan. But when Momoshiki eats Kinshiki, he gets a complete body remodel. He gets a new Rinnegan in his forehead, and obviously he changes completely. So yeah, you can go on with whatever you were talking about.
Yeah. One more way to look at how this versus battle is, if you want to look at it from like a narrative perspective, what I think the author is trying to portray with these threats greater than Kaguya, or while Kaguya is amassing an army, is that basically Kinshiki and Momoshiki and Kaguya, however, whoever you think is stronger or weaker, is not to like some substantial or drastic degree. So if they were all relative, fuse Momoshiki combining both of these powers would just outclass Kaguya. So regardless of if you think Kaguya is just a little bit stronger, a little bit weaker, Fuse Momo should just be way over anything she's able to do, if these statements are true and these hypotheses are correct, which they should be, because Sasuke has seen the strongest Kaguya and he just fought Kinshiki, so he should have a good gauge on what both of them can do. This is a pretty simple versus battle go over. I honestly don't know why this is a contentious topic within the community, but subscribe to Six. Of course, he's the man. Goodbye.